Hey guys, shooting for fun here. Hey, we're going to continue on in our basic cleaning series here of our rifle and shotguns. And today the one we're going to be doing here is the Mossberg 500. Now this is a standard model, the Mossberg 500 field model. They do make several different ones. They make them in like a turkey gun. They make them for skeet. They make different ones, for different applications or different hunting styles that you have. But this one is the basic field model, and it's good for basically rabbit and squirrel and pretty much anything you want to shoot at, just about. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to take this guy apart, clean it up. And we're going to do something different that we didn't show with some of the other models. Is we're going to show you how to unload and load this guy. This is, for my home, one of my primary home defense guns that I use. So this one I do keep loaded in the gun cabinet for home defense purposes. Okay, now this guy has a little counterpart, and we're going to talk about it in one of our other videos there, and it's the Remington 870. Now these two are almost identical. There's very few minor differences here that differ between the Mossberg and the Remington. Okay, one of them is our Mossberg has a aluminum stock, or an alloy stock, or receiver, where the Remington uses a steel receiver. Now, some people like the steel receiver because it's harder, it's more, can take a little more punishment maybe, a little more abuse or whatever, than our aluminum receiver there. But for just, basic standard use, you're not going to find anything wrong with either one. Okay, it's just preference. With this being the aluminum over the steel, this gun is going to be a little lighter, so if you're thinking about, having to lug it around through the woods, that is a slight advantage. Plus, this one holds 5 without the plug, where the Remington 870 only holds 4 without the plug. Now, depending upon your particular state, what's legal for hunting, here in Kentucky, it's 3. So you can have 3 in your chamber. So if you take it hunting, you better make sure you have that plug in there. Okay. I took the plug out of mine because all I do is go to the range. I don't really hunt with this. I just like going to the range and shooting. Okay. Now, one of the features that this guy has, and before we do anything else, we want to make sure that our gun is safe. And I did mention earlier that it is loaded. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how we eject our shells. And just like our 870 counterpart, we have right here, it's behind the trigger. The Remington, it was in front of the trigger. This is our slide release button. You notice if it's in the locked position right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to push that up. And what we're going to do is we're going to expel our shells, and you should be able to see them flying out. Here we go. There's all 5. We'll do it a couple more times. Look in the barrel there and make sure it's empty. Okay? So, dropped one. Here's our 5 shells. Right? So now that our gun is empty, we can go ahead and start our cleaning process. Okay? So, we can, if you open your breech there on the receiver, if you open that up, I don't know if you guys can see inside of that or not. You can see the end of your barrel right there. Okay. Now, you can do like we did on some of them, where you can just run the snake right down through it. Or you can end up taking the barrel off and doing it either way. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you take this one off. We got on our magazine tube here, we've got a little nut. And when you take that nut loose, you can see it kind of pushes up the barrel a little bit. You can see a little gap between there. And then what we do is we'll jiggle our barrel a little bit. Pull on it slightly there. And you see that our barrel comes out of our gun. Okay, so now what we got is a empty receiver there where you can go in and clean that out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to spray some of our Remington rim oil there, and you can use bore cleaner or any kind of spray you want to use there. Spray a good little amount down through there. Give it a little minute to work its way down there, and then we're going to use our little bore snake here. Okay. And you can see it go through there. You do have to watch, it will get hung up on some of the end of this piece right there. It's pretty sharp. It'll catch on there sometimes. And then we just pull it through. Okay. So now that we've got our barrel cleaned up, what you want to do is we'll take some of our little liquid rim oil here. It's the same thing, but then the liquid instead of the spray. And like I said, I'm not plugging the rim oil there. That's just my preference of what I use. You can use any kind you feel comfortable using there. And what I do is I take where the inside of my barrel is there. I'll just run around that and the outside of it there, because this is what slips back into the receiver. So I'll just put a little bit around that just so that it'll slide back in play there. And then what you want to do is you want to go into the side here, and you want to go in where your slide is, and you can go in for the from the bottom this way as well. And then what I'll do is I'll raise my slide up a little bit, and you can get to your slide block where your firing pin is located, and your extractors. Now on the, I don't know if you guys can see it or not there, but right here, this little black piece that's right there, that's your extractor. And on the Mossberg, there's one on both sides. So there's one there, and there's one over here as well on the other side of the block. The Remington 870 only has one extractor. That's another one of the differences between the two. Again, I've shot both of these extensively, and I've not really seen the difference with either one. I've not had a problem with them. Okay, so you want to make sure you get in and get that slide part. You got your slide rails here. You can also put a little grease on there. And you can run your, I don't know if you guys can, how well you can see that or not. You can run that up till you see the end of your barrel here. And just get a good cleaning on that as well. Okay. So now, we clean the inside, we clean We've cleaned the inside of our receiver. We've cleaned our barrel. That's pretty much all you can do unless you want to run a rod down through. You can take your slides off here. You can pull that magazine tube off. You can run a rag down through there as well. I don't do that often, just for the sheer fact that they don't really get that dirty. Over a period of time, you might want to do it maybe, once a year or something like that. And then I'll go in and put a little bit around my follower there. Okay. Now we're ready to reassemble this guy. So what you do is you line your grooves up on the top of your barrel there, with the grooves that are lined up on the receiver. And we'll just slide that guy back in. Well, I'm crooked here. There we go. Okay. Some days it's easier depending upon where you have your slide at. There we go. We got our little, I forgot you want to make sure that you do line that screw up there with that. It makes it a whole lot easier going back in. Now, as you tighten this screw, it will push that barrel right back up into where your receiver is. Okay? And again, you don't really want to torque on that nut there. You just want to get her good and tightened up there, good and thumb tight. You don't really need to torque it down because it will put undue pressure on that, and you could strip out your bolt as well. Okay. Now that we've got everything back assembled, we'll run it back and forth a couple times, make sure it's okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to discharge our trigger, and anytime you do anything with the gun, you want to make sure that it's pointed away from you. And you hear the click. Okay, so now our trigger is discharged here. And we can go ahead, we can put our ammo back in. Okay, but before we do it, I'm going to talk about this guy for a second. Show you some of its features. This one it has the gold tone trigger there. Just makes it look a little prettier. It's got the lighter wood stocks on it. It does have a double bead sight. You can see the bead here and the bead on the front. It has the hole for flash suppression. And on the Remington 870, we show that the safety button is behind the trigger. And the slide release was located in the front. This one is kind of different. Our slide release is located behind the trigger, and our safety is up here on top. This is okay. So they do make several different models for these. They make all kinds of accessories for these, just like they do for the Remington 870. There's different stocks you can buy. You can buy the synthetic stocks. You can buy the tactical stocks. They come with different butt pads that you can get. This one's comes with a nice little rubber butt pad. It also has the plastic cheek guard. And it comes with a couple of different ones of these because there's different heights to where you can put whichever one, to adjust for your feel better. Okay, so there is a lot of lot of neat accessories for these things. They do make different barrels. I do have a slug barrel for this that I can put on there if I wanted to go deer hunting. This one is a 26-inch barrel. They make a 28-inch, they make a 30-inch, they make an 18-inch, which is the shortest legal barrel you can have on these. And it's a great shooting little gun. I mean, I've not had any problems out of this whatsoever. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how we can load this guy back up. So now we've got, I don't know if you can, well, you can see up in there, but we got a little follower. It's just a little plastic follower on a spring that goes up in that tube. So what I'll do is I'll set a cartridge there, and I'll just take my thumb, push it. When I push it in, I kind of rock my thumb a little bit just to where it goes up in there and locks. And then you take your next one, and you just keep going until you get all of yours filled. Okay. So now we've got, you can see the bottom of the last shell in there. So now we've got our gun back loaded again. And like I said, this is my primary home defense here for this one. So I do keep it loaded and locked in the cabinet. And you notice that we discharged our trigger before. So our trigger is not active. You could actually, if you pulled the trigger right now, it wouldn't fire because we haven't loaded one into the chamber yet. Okay. And if you have the shotguns and you do the little cocking feature, you know, that's one of the little intimidation features that you have if somebody breaks into your house, because when they hear that slide go back, you know, it is a little intimidating sound there. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that. So we're just going to wipe her down a little bit, get our fingerprints off of it here. Because fingerprints, you do have the oil from your rim oil and stuff that you want to get off of there, because it will create dust, and at that point it will create rust over time. Alrighty guys, that's our Mossberg 500 field shotgun. This one is in a 20 gauge. They do make them in a 12 gauge and a 410 gauge. I think they make a 16 gauge. And these are a popular gun. If you look up most popular shotguns, it'll be this Mossberg and that Remington 870. Okay, they're used by military and police. They're just a very well-made gun, very reliable gun. You know, like I said, I've not had anything bad ever from any of these guns. So they are an excellent hunting or home defense type gun. Okay? Thanks for watching, guys. This is Shooting for Fun. Take care. Be safe.